Welcome, everybody. This is Kelly. I'm the CEO of Beyond Indigo, and we are here to talk about jumping onto cloud software and being in the cloud with your practice management software system tonight. And presenting will be Paulo, and he's the founder and owner of BeeFree. And so, Paulo, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kelly. There you go. That's my screen that's going to come up now. So, right, can you see my screen there, Kelly?
I sure can.
All right, thanks a lot. So, welcome everyone to the second of this webinar series. This one it's called Don't Get Left Behind, Use the Cloud. So, again, just to give you a brief introduction about what I do, because some of you will be listening to this webinar and be wondering, okay, who is this guy who's going to be promoting cloud computing? And as a brief history, I was a veterinary surgeon for 12 years. I practiced in the UK for 12 years. I had my own veterinary practice in the UK. But I decided at some point in time, whilst I was still practicing, I wanted to do some further studies. So I completed a qualification in computer programming, and then I subsequently went on to complete a qualification and became an accountant also. And now my wife, who's also an accountant and a vet, we run a specialist accounting firm, and we also developed and helped develop with a group of developers BeeFree software, which is a cloud software system for veterinary practices. And it's probably one of the oldest ones out there. We started with this vision of this thing of being able to run our veterinary practice management system entirely through the internet. We started with this vision probably about 8 years ago now. So BeeFree has been in existence for quite a long period of time. I'd like to congratulate you for coming to this. It's quite daunting for veterinary surgeons to face this prospect of the cloud. I think as a veterinary surgeon, you're trained to diagnose problems, and as a result, you're in the habit of looking for problems. And here, often when we say cloud, a lot of veterinary practices get quite frightened off by the prospect. And what I'm going to do today, it's actually going to be a really, really light discussion. I'm going to show you some things that have happened in the cloud, some changes, some of the big companies that do use the cloud. And what you're going to walk away with today also is I'm going to show you some not only BeeFree software, but some other really, really nice things that we here in our development office and through the accounting firm use as cloud products that are really, really cool. And you'll have tons of use for as a veterinary surgeon also. So you'll walk away from this at least with some ideas of some really, really nice products that will make your life a whole lot easier. And the reason why it's a whole lot easier is because they're all in the cloud. So are veterinary surgeons falling behind in the cloud? Definitely. Even when we look at the industry here in Australia, we see the other medical professions, dentists, doctors, physiotherapists, and then other service-based professions like hairdressers already sending out text messaging for appointments to make sure that they don't have missed appointments and that they capture appointments. And in fact, veterinary surgeons have been a lot slower on the uptake of this technology. So one of the things we do with BeeFree software is we look at things like reminders, sending out text message reminders for appointments. Because if an average transaction fee in a practice is $120, which is more or less right for Australia, then every single missed appointment is effectively an opportunity cost your practice of $120. So certainly by sending out text messages for appointments, if you manage to capture just one extra appointment a day, you can expect, it's not magic, it's simple mathematics, that what will happen is your revenue will increase considerably. So it is time for the veterinary profession to move in this space, and in fact past time for the veterinary profession to move into this space. So let's look at this article. I just pulled this up quickly on the Financial Times the other night because I knew I was going to be doing this talk when I looked up about what's happening in the cloud with big companies. Now, big business has accepted the cloud at this point in time, and in the Financial Times here, they're saying that smaller companies were the first to adopt the cloud, being obviously wowed over by the facts of ease of use, flexibility, and cost savings. At a time when people were worried about reliability and security. But at this point in time now, even then, it's quickly gone mainstream and now it's used by many big corporations. And what you've got to understand is that big corporations have a lot more to risk by putting their operations in the cloud than small businesses. So as a small business, this is where veterinary science has definitely fallen behind because most veterinary practices are small businesses and they have not yet adopted the cloud. So we're well behind the times in this sort of space. The big factor here, and things I'm really going to drum in, is flexibility, ease of use, and cost savings, significant cost savings. But what they don't mention here is efficiencies. Huge amount of efficiencies can be gained by utilizing cloud computing. All right, so who's using the cloud and who's using cloud computing extensively? So once again, it was pretty easy for me. I just hopped onto Google and I thought, all right, I'll look for who's using Salesforce.com, which is one of the main or major cloud-based platforms for running a sales force or monitoring leads and contacts within a business. And straight away, I'll put the website address at the bottom there, salesforce.com/customers, because this is just 4 of the customers, but there is a huge page of big customers who use salesforce.com. And you can see here ADT, Security Systems, American Red Cross, Virgin America, and News International, which is the Sunday Times and the Times, all utilize this as their main source of contacts and management of contacts and leads. So huge parts of their business processes are already being run on the cloud. So this kind of fear factor, they've overcome this. And the reason why I also chose Salesforce.com is that Salesforce.com is a true cloud product, something that runs entirely through a web browser. It's not one of these pseudo cloud products, which I'm going to discuss a little bit down the track. And another thing I wanted to highlight here is ADT. ADT is a security firm, guys. So if a security firm is happy to put their stuff on the cloud, I think we as veterinary surgeons should be quite happy to do it also. All right, so as I mentioned before, what does cloud mean? And I'm not going to bore you with the definition of what cloud is as per what you'd find on Google or Wikipedia or any of these places. Basically, cloud is a very broad term, and effectively it means anything that you can access where the server is kept remotely, so your server is in physically a different location to where your workstation is effectively a cloud system. But that's not what we're talking about today, okay? We're going to be limiting it down even further. The point being that there's a lot of older technologies out there that can be deployed remotely by means of old technologies like remote desktop. So be very aware of limitations, and this runs in all spaces. I'll mention it here in accounting software because we come across that quite often. It also occurs in veterinary software where legacy and old veterinary software systems, desktop veterinary software systems, are now being sold or being sold as cloud systems when in fact they're exactly the same system that runs through Windows Remote Desktop. And in fact, the result there is you're utilizing a technology that was not designed to work that way, and the end result is a product that functions very slowly. And we've seen this quite a lot. So the example here I put here is QuickBook accounts. And the word to look for when you're looking for a cloud system, be it accounting software, veterinary software, a CRM system, or a system that sends out newsletters to clients, is watch out for the word hosted. Very often they'll say this is a hosted system. And often when companies use hosted, it means they're taking the old stuff and they're putting it on a server somewhere and they're utilizing remote access. So it's not really been designed to work in that way and doesn't run very efficiently. But legitimately, they can still call it a cloud system. All right, so what do we mean by cloud? And for the purpose of discussion, these are the 3 criteria I utilize when I say is a cloud system what I would call a true cloud system. 1, does it run entirely through a web browser? In other words, you don't need any additional software to run that particular product. It runs through Internet Explorer, it runs through Firefox, or it runs through Google Chrome or any of the other browsers, and it works perfectly well without you having to get extra stuff, right? So that covers number 2 also. You don't have to install any additional software for it to work. And that immediately eliminates a lot of those products where if you don't have a Windows system and you're not running remote desktop, you can't utilize these other hosted systems. And certainly because of those reasons and because you're not running a specific operating system with specific programs, you can't use it from any internet-ready device. So that brings us to point number 3. A true cloud system, for our purposes of today, is one that will run through an iPad, a PC, or a Mac and give you exactly the same results. So that's what we're talking about here. And here's where you start to gain your real benefits in terms of efficiency and in terms of ease of use, is the ability to run on various machines, and the ability of it just working from any machine that you purchase from anywhere. All right, so watch out for these things. If you're going to be purchasing a software platform for anything, being an accounting software, be it veterinary software, look at these three criteria. Does it run entirely through a web browser? You don't have to install any additional software, and can I use it from almost any internet-ready device? And if the answer is yes to all of these things, then you're looking at a cloud product that's been designed for the future. All right, so people are going to pop up and say to you, hey, this product is unsafe. And there's a lot of people who are going to say to you, as soon as you say you're going to go for a cloud product, they're going to come back to you and say, this product is unsafe, it's insecure. So who is going to say this? And you do get a lot of pushback on cloud technology, but you've got to think a little bit about why this has happened. Companies have invested, and there are companies that have invested billions and billions and billions in traditional desktop software. Classic example would be Microsoft. They produce a desktop product. They're probably one of the biggest companies in the world. So of course they're going to do everything in their power to try and make or tarnish the reputation of cloud systems. It's just them protecting their own business. The second layer of people who are going to say the cloud is unsafe is people who make a living out of servicing desktop systems. We come across this pushback all the time whenever we're implementing software in new veterinary practices. We very, very often get the response back, our hardware technician guy, or the guy who comes and services our servers, has told us that our internet speed's not good enough and that it's unsafe. So as a result, we often get the pushback that we've been told our internet's not good enough. So we produced an internet testing tool, which we then put onto these practices' computers and run it for a week, just to test their internet connection for a whole week, and it tests the internet connection every minute for a week. And usually the internet connection comes back absolutely fine. So of course, there's people who make a living out of the traditional stuff, and of course they're going to want things to stay the way they were. This is classically the same story that we've all heard about before, about the horse and cart versus the automobile at the turn of the century. That people who stayed on the horse and cart system believed that was going to be the way forwards, but ultimately they were just prolonging the agony of that particular modality of transport, because the automobile did take over. And this is classically exactly the same story. All right, so we actually think it's safer. And why do we think it's safer? Simply because, again, from experience, and I can give you examples here, is in-house backups. When we receive backups from practices who want to convert over to BeeFree, we receive their data from their old system to do a data migration. And just a few weeks ago, we received and this happens, I would say, probably 4 out of 10 at least, if not more. We receive a backup from a practice, and they think it's their current backup that they backed up last night, and we restore their backup, and a couple of things happen. One, sometimes there's no backup in the files they send us at all. So effectively, for all these years, they've been backing up nothing. 2, we receive a backup, but when we restore that backup is about a year old. So they've been backing stuff up, but it's effectively been the wrong stuff, and it's about a year old. So those are the scenarios we commonly see. Now, in those particular practices, if the server had failed, if there'd been a fire, if there'd been a break-in and their server been vandalized, they would have lost all their data. So in-house backups are not secure. And the other story is, you think to yourself, are you taking a backup and storing it off-site? Because what's going to happen if your clinic gets broken into, or your clinic burns down and things like that happen? We've had in Brisbane recently, we've had 2 practices that have had fires. So it is very, very possible. And if you do have a fire and your backup is stored somewhere nice and safe in a fireproof safe in the practice, well, it's still not going to make it. Fireproof safes are safe. They're good against fire, but anything inside the safe melts. So effectively, you need to physically take that backup off-site or upload it somewhere else. We find the same story with accounting files, because as an accounting firm, we also deal with a lot of accounting files. And as an accounting firm, we very, very strongly promote cloud accounting systems like Xero. Because people who've run their accounting software on their desktops, or sometimes even on their laptops, we've had 2 cases of clients where they've run their accounting software on their laptops, and in one case, their laptop got stolen, and in the other case, their laptop broke and they lost all their accounting work. So all their year's bookkeeping was basically gone. So yes, I think desktop stuff is less safe than cloud stuff. When you compare it to cloud stuff, you have your backups done in the cloud. They happen automatically every night. And the way that the backups are done for most cloud systems, and certainly we do this for BeeFree software, is we keep those backups in 2 geographical locations. So we back them up at the data center, and then we move them automatically to another geographical location. So the data is always stored in 2 geographical locations. So that it automatically gives you that sort of redundancy. So keeping your veterinary system in the cloud or keeping your accounting software in the cloud definitely has advantages to maintaining your own backups. All right, so carrying on with is my stuff secure and safe? Is how does a cloud system manage its servers? In a veterinary practice, you can only afford effectively to have one server. So if that server breaks down, then your system stops working. With cloud software, we have the advantage. We've got a lot of practices working across multiple servers, so we can do what we call load balancing. So with BeeFree software, and I know they do a similar thing with Zero accounting software, and a lot of the cloud providers, companies like Netflix, do the same thing. Your system actually accesses 3 servers at any one point in time. So what happens is, if one server blows up, the user shouldn't even notice an interruption of service. All that happens is the system carries on being deployed to your web browser from the remaining 2 servers. The next level of redundancy is if the second server blows up, then the system is designed so that it can run only off one server. So the end user should not experience any downtime at all, because there's still one server working. And you can note here what we do is we actually keep the 3rd server in a different data center to the first 2 servers. So what happens is, if data center number 1 blows up, we still have a server sitting in another data center that is still functional. So for example, what we do on our Australian server is Amazon Web Services has 2 data centers in Sydney, North and South, and we keep 2 of our servers in this data center North Sydney, and we keep 1 of our servers in the data center in South Sydney. So if there's a total disruption of service to the north side data center, and it might not be a fire, it might just be, you know, someone with a digger cuts up one of the big cable lines or something like that, the second data center should still remain up, so we've still got redundancy, and the system is still accessible at that point in time. So the only time we'll experience an interruption of service, or should experience an interruption of service, is when both data centers go down simultaneously. So the odds of that happening are obviously a lot slimmer than just having one server go. The other really nice thing about this is what happens if the computer or one of your workstations at your veterinary practice dies or blows up. The result is it's really, really easy to fix. With a traditional desktop system, you've got to call someone in normally to set up a new workstation and plug it in a network for you. But with any true cloud system, all you have to do is purchase any internet-ready device from the local PC store, and it should just work. Because if you remember what I said earlier, your 3 criteria, 2 of those criteria is it should work on any internet-ready device, and you don't need to install any additional software. So basically, purchase a computer. If it connects to the internet, you're ready to go again. So effectively, you can replace your own workstation, or even send your receptionist to buy another desktop, a laptop, an iPad, and effectively you've got another machine on the go in no time whatsoever. And the other thing here I've highlighted on this diagram, of course, is the 24-hour backups, which then get moved from one data center to some other geographical location, so that it's safe in the event of a data center going down in flames. So really good redundancy and real security and safety in this sort of thing. So to implement a similar sort of infrastructure within a business is going to be quite expensive. You're looking at $50,000 to $100,000 per annum to implement a load-balanced 3-service system within any business. And we can all accept that for your standard small animal veterinary practice or veterinary practice of maybe even up to 4 or 5 vets is starting to become pretty steep. So it's always best to outsource that, because we can spread that sort of infrastructure over a number of practices. All right, so today I said I was going to show you some really cool stuff that you can do on the internet, and I'm going to go through 5 products that are going to really change your life. And I'm quite happy to answer any questions on these products at the end of the talk if you've got any questions. And I'll just go through them briefly. But these are things that, having been a practicing veterinary surgeon, I would have loved to have had in practice when I was there, and certainly stuff we use within our office. I'm not recommending stuff here that we don't use. We use each one of these bits of software, and can really make a difference both in the amount of what they would cost if you're using older systems, and to your marketing and your revenue generation. So Google's obviously the first one we're going to talk about, and Google offers a number of services, but really the real big hitter for me is Google Documents, Google Drive, and the email for you. The second one is MailChimp, which is a product that many of vets are actually already using, but is really good product for deploying and sending out mass marketing emails and newsletters. Number 3 is Xero Accounting, really good accounting system. And as an accounting firm, this is what we recommend all veterinary practices and all our clients go on. It's a really good fit to veterinary practices as an accounting system. It works really nice. It's easy to use, and does everything that a veterinary practice needs from an accounting system. Number 4 is LastPass. Now, one of the big challenges we had within our business was password management, because we maintain so many passwords, both through the accounting firm and through the IT and software development with all the different servers and things we've got. And it was becoming really tedious and cumbersome to manage and maintain our passwords. LastPass is a fantastic tool. If you're logging in and out of your banking and in and out of different systems, it'll save you hours every day, because it's a place where you can store all your passwords, automatically deploys them into and auto-fills your browsers in a much safer format. So I'll discuss that a little bit later on. And then obviously BeeFree veterinary software, which I'm always happy to discuss with anyone, because we think it's a really good way to promote and drive your revenue, and in our opinion, the easiest and most user-friendly online cloud system to use for vets. All right, so starting with Google, those of you who want to stay on afterwards, I'll answer any questions on this. But the ways I've used Google is sharing on Google Drive. If you've got a Google account, you automatically get access to Google Drive, and you can share files. You can share files with anyone anywhere in the world and just send them a link. It's really handy. The other thing you can do as a vet, and it surprises me still that there's a lot of veterinary practices out there still running their own email server or still running their own Outlook server. You're wasting thousands of dollars every year running an Outlook server, because it's a very hungry system and a very hard server to run. What a lot of people don't know is that you can set up a corporate or business account with Google. So you don't have to have abcvets@gmail.com. You can have Dr. Smith at abcvets.com. So your domain name, be it abcvets or Happy Vets or whatever, you can have that attached to your Google account. So you can have a corporate level internet email account attached to your Google account, and it only costs about $5 per user. And with this, you can add users, you can remove users, you can maintain email addresses, and it works, in my opinion, because I have managed Outlook servers before. It's about 10 times easier to do, and it's about, well, thousands of times cheaper to do. So, so setting up your email account, I think if you're not using Google Mail to run your corporate emails, I think you're nuts. You might once again think, oh, this is a bit bold, putting all my emails and putting all my emails in the hands of Google. But a lot of big companies have moved in this direction and use Gmail as their primary email provider. So, so you're definitely not a groundbreaker in this area. You'd probably be a follower. Google Forms are a hidden gem. With Google Drive, you're actually able to produce forms, and where I see them useful for veterinary practices is you can produce a customer satisfaction form, and you automatically get access to this with your free Google account. So the only one you have to pay for here is number 2, setting up a corporate account with Google. Google Forms, you can set up customer satisfaction forms on Google. You just go in there, you say set up a new form. You can put in a whole lot of questions like how did you find our service? Which vet did you see? Is there anything we can improve about our service? And if you get a special link to that, and if you send out your invoices or anything digitally to your clients, or even your email newsletter, you can have a link on those letters. Clients can click on that and they can fill out a customer satisfaction form online, and that'll then hold it for you in a spreadsheet, which you can then chart and graph. So it's fantastic. You have, and it's paint by numbers. It is so easy to set up. You just set up a free Google account, go into Google Drive, and there's a link there that says set up your form. So you can set up a form straight away. It's really paint by numbers. You don't need to be a geek at all. Google also offers spreadsheets and Google presentations. So spreadsheets is similar to Microsoft Excel, but they do take a bit of getting used to. And then Google presentations, if you do PowerPoints and things, you can run that entirely through Google Drive. This presentation you're seeing now, I'm running through Google Drive. I don't use PowerPoint. In fact, I try not to use any Microsoft products at all. So Google presentations is really, really good. And then you've got Google Hangouts. So like here now, we're on GoToWebinar, which is a paid-for webinar meeting type thing. But if you, and this is where we've utilized it in veterinary practices, is great for staff meetings. Anyone with a Google account gets a free GoToWebinar type setup. So you can have a GoToMeeting with screen sharing and multiple people free of charge if you've got a Google account. So if in a veterinary practice all your staff have got Google accounts, Gmail accounts, and you run 3 branch practices and you want to have a staff meeting, all you do is quickly go onto your Google, you call those people, you get them all together at one time, and you can have a meeting online with screen sharing, just like we're doing now. So really, really good stuff. And all of this is for free except number 2, which is pretty cheap. So Google's a great product. Okay, keeping your accounting and bookkeeping in the cloud. I've mentioned Xero before, and I'll go through it pretty quickly. I'll put the website address there at the bottom, www.xero.com. In our opinion, a really, really good accounting system. You can go to their website. They've got a demo that you can play around with. When we also, being accountants, also go to a lot of accounting CPD courses, and when they measured the reconciliation of bank statements, so basically coding your bank statements into Xero compared to something like the traditional desktop software like MYOB, it worked out 3 times faster. So basically the technical side was per statement line. It was taking a bookkeeper 1 minute to do it on desktop. It was taking 20 seconds to do on Xero. So Xero has a lot of things in place to make it tons faster. For example, it connects to all your bank accounts, so all your bank statements feed in automatically, and in a lot of cases, you just have to match them up and click OK buttons instead of typing them in. And you can set up rules in Xero, so if you get the same thing again and again on a statement line, it starts to recognize them, and you can just basically OK it and put it in, so there's no typing at all. So really, take a look at Xero. It's a really, really good product. I would say you should speak to your accountant if you're going to change over. They'll help you change over your current desktop software to Xero, and it'll be a whole lot better for you. All right, MailChimp, really, really good product for managing newsletters online. Website www.mailchimp.com. Again, you can get a free account, and you can send, I think it's something like 3,000 newsletters a month. So it's the entry level. There's no real barrier to entry. If you want to do client newsletters and things, you can quite easily export a list of email addresses from most software systems. You can do that from BeeFree also, and you can then import that list of email addresses into MailChimp, and then you can manage and maintain newsletters from MailChimp. So a really, really good product for maintaining newsletters and things like that. The other nice thing about doing this through MailChimp is your emails are much, much less likely to get blacklisted, because any emails coming from MailChimp servers are normally thought to be pretty safe. So, because MailChimp's got their own checking mechanisms in place, so your emails are much, much less likely to be put into spam. As at BeeFree, what we do is you can maintain your newsletters and things within BeeFree also, but when we actually send the newsletters out, we send them out through the MailChimp servers. So MailChimp handle the emailing out process. It goes out through their servers for the simple reason of blacklisting and spamming. We try and get our delivery rate and our reputation, what they call reputational emails, to keep that fairly high. So any emails going out through BeeFree software will run out through the MailChimp servers. All right, and finally, BeeFree software, which is obviously our own product and something we're very, very proud of. The website there is www.beefreesoftware.com. And I'd like to just mention at this point in time of those really, really nice products we've mentioned before. It's fully integrated with Google Drive, so all your patient documents, x-rays, laboratory results are stored in BeeFree and on Google Drive simultaneously. So you have all your documentation accessible in two places through BeeFree software and Google Drive. And it gives you a lot of storage space for a very, very reasonable price. In fact, your first 15 gigabytes are free, so you don't pay anything. And then you can buy something like a terabyte per month for $1 a month for a terabyte, which is massive. So it's actually big enough to store a significant amount of data and documentation, and we're fully integrated with Xero accounting software. So the real plus there is that if you integrate with Xero and BeeFree, every single customer, every single invoice, every single payment, and every single item you sell on an invoice is automatically posted into your Xero accounting software, so your debtors are automatically up to date, and any reports you run on sales, etc., are totally up to date in your Xero software, your accounting software also, which is something that's always been a problem in veterinary practice, where your practice management software is always fragmented from your accounting software. And some companies have tried to build their own accounting software, but there's a level of complexity involved in that, and they failed quite badly. So, so people with those systems still end up using something else for an accounting system. So this is a really, really good integration, and something that will really make your bookkeeping and paperwork and administration a whole lot easier. All right, so a quick look at the Cloud Clinic. I said before, as the Financial Times said, why is it so good, and what makes the cloud so much better, cost-effective, and efficient? All right, so you have a system that can grow to any size. So if you've got a multi-branch practice, you can quite easily have, all you have is workstations in each of these practices, and because the cloud system doesn't care where you're physically located, it really, really doesn't matter. You can access any of these practices can access BeeFree at any time. So you don't have to have 3 servers, which I'd say anything between $7,000 and $21,000 for a server spread over 3 practices would be a real big expense for a lot of practices. And you don't have to rely on people to maintain your workstations anymore. You can use any device. This is something I touched on earlier. Your team members can bring in anything they want. In fact, if you have a broken down computer, like I mentioned earlier, and we've had this scenario in some local practices where their workstations broke, all they have to do is either bring in one of their own laptops or bring in any of their iPads, and you'll find that they're up and going straight away because it works on any device. So this fact about people bringing their own devices and rolling your eyes at the thought of the staff bringing their own devices, it does actually happen quite a lot, and it's quite a useful feature. And one of the things I'd really like to highlight here is that BeeFree software is one of the only cloud systems, veterinary cloud systems, that actually works on an iPad. We're very, very fussy about that, but we see the iPad as a very, very good device to carry around the practice with you. So we try and keep full functionality on the iPad, so the system's totally usable on the iPad. Right, your team can work from anywhere, which is really, really nice. And who would want to work from home? We get this a lot. Oh, I really wouldn't want to bring my work home with me. But we've dealt with this now in some local groups who've wanted, where they've got a lot of practices, they want to centralize their administration for reminders. It's very, very good for that because you can run all your reminders from one place if you're multi-branch. You can have administrators working remotely, and this is quite a common scenario where one of your practice administrators maybe has some young children and needs to do some time from home, or one of the kids is sick. And that allows them to do all their work from home. They don't need to install anything. Remember that point I brought up? No additional software required. All they need is an internet connection at home and a computer. You don't have to send anyone there to set anything up for them. It just works through the internet just like they do their internet banking. So it's really easy for your staff to work from home if required. It's a good lifestyle choice for sole practitioners because they can go and do things with the family, say go to football matches, swimming lessons, things like that. Bring their iPad with them and then catch up on their clinical notes whilst the kids are doing their swimming training or soccer training, things like that. And that's the kind of feedback we've had on that side. And obviously for house visits, you suddenly can bring all your patient notes with you on a house visit. If you've got an iPad, it impresses the client because you've got Fluffy's notes right there. You know Fluffy's entire history, and you can do the billing and invoicing right there whilst you're treating Fluffy, and then email the invoice onto the client. So you've got the billing process done right there and then, just like in your consult room, which avoids the issue of having to go back to the practice and do the bill, which invariably often results in a missed billing somewhere along the line because you've forgotten something you've given. All right, and cloud systems, again, speak to each other. So there's the other advantage of the cloud practice. Cloud systems speak to each other. So like I mentioned earlier, BeeFree software, we don't have to reinvent a document storage system. We just choose the one we feel is the best, and we just interface with it. We don't have to build an accounting system. We just choose the one we think is the best, and we just interface with it. For email marketing, we don't have to build another email marketing or emailing platform. We just choose the one that's the best, and we just integrate with it and get the best of both worlds. And we've got we're going to be looking at business health reports also, and interfacing with another product to do business health reports. So there's a lot of opportunities and things that you can propagate a cloud system. And this is the horse and carriage versus the car story again. A desktop system can't do this. They have to develop this all for themselves, so they get left behind. All right, so in monetary terms, once again, because I'm an accountant, I always like to think what this means in dollar terms for a practice, and looking at the efficiencies, the reduction in software costs, the usage of portable devices, more workstations, more effective reminder systems that the cloud system can do, and increasing recall rates. We estimate anything between $50,000 to $100,000 for a 1 to 2 vet clinic. And that's why these big corporations have gone over to the cloud, because they've seen this, they did the research, they did this ages ago, and they moved onto the cloud as soon as they felt they could. So it's past time for small businesses to do it. I think the time is there, it's ready, and people have got to go on the cloud, just for the sake of this efficiency and profit-driven effects that you get from that. All right, so that's my chat for today. I'm happy to deal with any questions. And any of those products you've discussed there, be it Google Drive and how to use Google Drive, LastPass, Zero Accounting, BeeFree software, anything like that, I'm happy to take any questions from you and help you out with any of those things. So feel free to ask me anything.
Okay, James and Michelle, you're unmuted. Do you guys have any questions about BeeFree in general or cloud computing?
Hi, this is Michelle, obviously. I know earlier they said something about setting up the Google account, and could we just quickly run over how we would go about that? And we have to let you guys know what our account is, I understand.
Yeah, sure. We'll set it up for you, Michelle. So if your system, do you store documents on it at all at this point in time, or not?
On the BeeFree system?
Yeah.
I haven't figured, I want to put the pathology reports and things on there, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Okay, fine. So we'll do that for you. Okay, so all we need you to do, because what happens is Google restricts the amount of accounts we can set up. Because initially we started setting up accounts for clients, but what they do is they do an SMS mobile phone verification every time you do an account to make sure it's a legitimate request. And after we've done about 20, they stopped us. So you've got to set up your own one because we ran out of mobile phone numbers. So basically, I'll just bring that up to my screen here. If you just go to Google,
so basically,
and set up a new account.
Yeah, you're setting up a new account.
You just go to Google. Sorry,
well, I haven't done this as yet, so
okay.
So you go to Google, set up an account. You'll get a username and password.
Then all you do is set up the account?
Yep. So go to google.com. I have to log out here just a sec. If I go to Google now, it keeps me logged in. Just sign out. Add account. There you can say see the add account, and I think then you say create an account.
Oh, well, I'll try and figure it out because obviously you'll have to pick something that says to set up an account. You've already got an account, so yours is different.
No. What happens is if you go to Google and you're not logged in, because I've signed myself out now, all right? So what will happen is you've got no account, so all these other ones that I've created here will be missing. So all you'll have here is this button here saying add account.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you go, it'll ask you to sign in, and you won't have anything there. And then at the bottom here it says create an account.
Yep.
Just click on create an account.
Right.
And then it just asks you to choose a username, and you can choose whatever you would be. I would put something with your practice name for BeeFree purposes.
Probably not that.
And then you just create a password, and you just type in a password there, confirm your password. Then there's this verification part. You have to put in your mobile phone number, and often they'll send you a text message with a little message saying you'll need these 3 numbers to verify your account.
Sure.
So you
I
just follow
assume they
these
won't
fields.
publish that number though.
No, they don't. All it is for SMS verification to make sure, because otherwise what would happen is spammers would go in and create 1,000 accounts a day and just hammer their servers. So,
Right.
so it's SMS verification just to make sure it's a legitimate request.
Sure.
And then you just click the next step, and then once you've gone through the steps, you just send us the username and password you created, and we then link that Google. We'll go into BeeFree and we'll link that Google account into BeeFree for you. I'll show you this. I mean, it's really easy to do in BeeFree, Michelle, but we'll just do it for you. Just send us a username and password, and we'll do it for you. We generally do it for users. If they send us the username and password, we just set it up for you.
And I send it to you via email or via?
Send it to the support@beefreesoftware.com. That goes to our support desk, and then either myself or one of the other support team will just we'll look at it for you and do it for you.
Michelle, you can also send it to me because you've been emailing me, so that's fine too.
Yep, sure.
When you do set up a Google account, one caveat, you have to make the birthday of the account over 13 years of age for legal purposes. So
I've never come across that one. I've never thought about it. I always just put my birthday.
Yeah.
I would have just put in my birthday. Maybe I'll put the clinic's birthday in. That's 20 years, so that's fine.
That would be fine. Yes.
And then Michelle, and then we normally advise you use that account just for BeeFree purposes, because don't get any personal emails going to that, because what happens is if you need some support stuff done on that, then some of our support techs might want to just jump on there and make sure everything's fine. And you don't want things like, obviously, credit card stuff and things coming into that particular account. That's why we get you to set up a new Google, even if you've got an existing Gmail account, we always say set up a new one just for BeeFree purposes. And then you can, at least that one is there for BeeFree purposes. And also, if for any reason you end up selling the practice, then at least that Google account just goes with the practice.
You mentioned that they require a new mobile number each time you set it up. So does that mean you can't set up a personal one and a clinic one at the same time?
No, I think they allow 20.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You can use the same mobile number a number of times. So we were happily setting up Google accounts for all our BeeFree customers, and then suddenly they said, no more.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I think again they don't want spammers to go there and set up hundreds of free email accounts. Obviously, they're protecting themselves from being hammered. So now we just get you to do it because we've run out of mobile phone numbers in the office to use.
Same at
so
Beyond
this
Indigo.
creates an email account for you that you then can receive emails from.
Yeah, you can. So you'll get an account. Yeah, you can have an email account in there that you can receive emails from. It's a full email account, and all that stuff I discussed earlier. You'll get a Google Drive account with access to Google spreadsheets, Google Documents, Google presentations, Google Forms, all totally free of charge, and effectively replaces your Microsoft Office. And then carry on.
We've just upgraded our Outlook because the BeeFree system was running a bit slow. The new upgrade, we were told to update it. We've just updated that to the latest Outlook.
Right. Huh. Okay.
So
yeah, no, you don't.
Technical people told us to do.
No. I'll discuss that with you later. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, your Outlook. You don't need Outlook in a veterinary practice. It's not. I would go with Google Mail at any point in time, because you don't have to run your own server for that. And it's at $5 if you want a corporate account, because your free accounts come with gmail.com at the end, so you could have your veterinary at gmail.com. But it looks even better if you've got your veterinary practice there at yourveterinarypracticename.com.
And how do you achieve that?
You just do a corporate business Google account, and then so you can convert your current Google account to a business Google account.
Right. Oh, this is the $5 a user thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Business Google account. Google Business. Get your business on Google. No, that's Google Plus. I'll send you the link later on, Michelle. I've got it somewhere. And then you just go there, and then you can pay per user. And then you get a whole user control panel that manages all your email addresses. And you can have all your practice email addresses linked to your Google account. Ours is here. This is our one is here. So this is how we. So you get a whole management console. management control panel that manages all
Hello,
your
Jim. Yeah,
all your people.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
They did.
We've got some background noise going on there,
Maybe
Kelly.
Ethan has them.
Someone doesn't know something.
No, I think it's some people in the other office. So you can see I've logged into my Google business account.
Yes.
And I've got this console panel here, and I can add multiple domains to it. So our business account runs the accounting firm, and these other domains all run through our business account. So any email address we have can be run. Any of these domains, I can have paolo@beefreesoftware.com.au, paolo@beefreesoftware.com, paolo@atlanticpacificconsulting.com. All these email addresses then belong to me. They all get attached to my Google account. And there's a little bit of a verification process you have to go through to get this in there, because you have to prove to Google that you actually own these domain names, but it's pretty easy to do. Normally, all you have to do is upload a little text file to your website if you own that domain, and then Google verifies, and then you can have real professional-looking email addresses, and then also you can then manage all your users and things through that. So we have multiple users and all their email addresses running through our Google account here. So it's tons easier to use than Outlook, and you don't have to worry about servers at all.
Okay, thanks.